Hello everyone. This is for twin flames. If you are interested to know about the twin flame journey or what it is all about, or if you are a wounded masculine or a wounded feminine wanting to know whether you want to get into the relationship with your own twin, or you want to continue if you are in a separation. Basically, it's all about balancing our own feminine and masculine energy within our own self, and a self realization that we are actually not humans but highly ascended beings, a soul who already know about our own identity but living in a human body, forgetting about our actual existence. And because of the lack of connection with the source, which is unconditionally loving towards everybody in this universe. The meaning of God itself is unconditional love. Everyone exists inside the universe, is the children of the universe. So we are. When we are in a soul form, we do remember who we are, what we are, and we are immortals. Souls do not die. So when in a three-dimensional earth, when we are born as a human, because of the limitations of the body, actually to bring out certain things, we are made to forget about our own self. For example, in this life itself, if we have a very particular way of believing, behaving, certain belief systems, prejudice, or whatever we have, good person, negative person, bad person, whatever it is, kinder one, if you really want to change yourself, unless something really serious happens, people don't change that easily unless something impacts them intentionally, or something happens that shakes them up. That is why people are usually born without their memory of who they were in their past life. To give them a clean start, to give them a chance to release themselves from their karmic connections of their past life, whatever they have done, whatever they have not done. It is to give them a chance to start over without remembering who they are. But what happens is usually a soul remembers to certain extents. Our body and our brain is connected to our mind, and when something from outside, like the food that we eat, the conversation that we have, the social media content that we see, anything that we consume, it has an impact on this body and mind. If we try to control this in a very positive way, if we reduce the negative side effects of that earth, we can directly connect ourselves to our higher self, to the divine world. Our heart is connected to our consciousness, and that's connected to the divine world itself. So basically, if we start to remember who we are, so this is a basic understanding. People who suffer, they don't realize sometimes why suffering, why. Either they get angry on somebody else, and for other stuff they cannot take it, or they become inwardly hurting themselves and asking gods or whoever they believe why it is happening. The what most important thing is, instead of asking that, it is a simple concept. It happened. Now what we have to go through is go to the solution, not to dwell on why it happened. It is not important to know why it happened. Unless you are in a place to sit down and contemplate. For example, narcissistic abuse. People who are the victim of narcissistic abuse, they themselves don't know that they are being abused. because they don't know. They suffer, they're suffering, and if they are sitting down and contemplate, they still will not be, most of the time, they won't be able to understand why they are in such a place. So these kind of a people, it's better for them to come out of that as a solution. This is not working out, this is not good for me, so I'll get out. It is what happens is, with the people with the narcissistic abuse, their brain changes because of the abuse. That memory power loses, and their confidence, takes a hit, and losing belief in themselves. There are a lot of negative thing happens. So even if somebody tells them to get out, they might, depending on the narcissistic abuse, it's never easy for those people. For somebody who never experienced a narcissistic abuse, they will never be able to understand what a narcissistic abuse is, unless you yourself was a victim for, especially it actually starts from family. Many people usually blame their life partner that is a narcissist, but they themselves don't realize it actually starts at home with your own parents, because these parents are the reason that this child turned into some kind of a narcissistic magnet. They don't realize that they themselves has turned into a certain person because of their own guardians who raised them, because these people have certain characteristics. It attracts narcissistic people. So these people who end up, either if it is arranged marriage, then they didn't really had anything say to it, but those people who fall in love and then get married and such, it is because, especially the female who have that kind of a narcissistic parent at home, tend to lean towards a narcissistic life partner if she is not healed enough. So people, especially female, even males, who blame their partners for being actual narcissistic, the textbook narcissistic, not normal disagreement and something, no, actual diagnosed or undiagnosed actual narcissist. It's because these people are letting that narcissist be that person in their life. Narcissist will never change. It is the other person has to realize that this is not good for me and I have to leave. Majority of the time what happens is, in a narcissistic abuse, there is a codependency. Means either that parent has raised that female, that children. It happens to male as well. In a certain way that they are depending on their parents, whether it's a financial thing. For example, a parent raising their daughter to be absolutely dependent. They will let their daughters educate themselves, but they will not let them choose whatever they want, because if they choose whatever they want, they will more likely be happier. So they don't want their daughters to be happy. It is kind of a controlling thing. They can give a lot of reasons for it. So they will give money, but you have to go study this only. When that does not go well, these daughters either they have education, but they don't have a job, because they are not likely, even if they have job, it's very difficult for them to do it, because their parents are forcing them to do certain things that's not good for them. And these children most likely are the black sheep of the family, because usually what happens is divine sends star seeds to such families of narcissistic people, because they want to break that generational curse. So these kids who are born into narcissistic family, or who are as a black sheeps, most likely are the empaths who got neglected, abused, abandoned, felt abandoned by their own parents. Parents will never agree. It can be as simple fact as other child, if there are two children in a family, in a narcissistic family, it doesn't matter whether adult, elder or a younger one child is treated completely differently, another child is treated completely differently. and the both children may be receiving all the materialistic supplies and everything, but emotionally it's never there, so that hurt will always be there. So it's different for every single one. It's very, very personal for that child. When I wanted a cup of glass, nobody gave me, but for my sister or brother, it was always there. It was completely different. So no matter how much materialistic supply the parents do, when emotionally distant, emotionally negligent, and or physically or mentally, verbally abusive, these kind of things, there are a lot of things happens in a narcissistic family, where a black sheep feels not belonged, but because of the kindness they stick around. They think their family loves them, and they give in. What happens is these narcissistic parents, their love is conditional. So since the children doesn't know what's an actual true love is from a parent, they end up thinking that this is how life is. Saying no means parents getting angry and upset and trying to please these same parents, these guardians. So these children starts to do things to please their parents, their guardians, whoever raised them. Say parents, grandparents, uncles, aunties, whoever the authority figure in the family who's actually running the family. So these children who are soft-hearted, kind, gentle, giving, these are the ones who are actually sent by the divine to break their generational curses, because it's twin flames and narcissistic abuse and stars, it is all connected to each other. So what happens is these black sheeps are made to be dependent on the family in certain way. You can go and do all the education, but you cannot go for a job. You have to get married, then whatever your husband says, do that. These kind of families who doesn't let their children to be independent in certain way. So that controlled love and lot of things happens, making them feeling lesser about themselves, making them confused when these children, when they are trying to make a decision, these parents try to make them very confused when they are trying to celebrate something, even if it is smallest thing, telling them, don't be that much happy, it's still not done yet, these kind of things. And every single time when such a narcissistic parent shows love, it is only to control, nothing else. So these kids who are so much empathetic people, most likely, unless they have some other support to realize that, many people who doesn't have anybody else to rely on to give that understanding, look, your parents are not good, they are literally toxic people. And what happens is when you are born into a family and grown as from childhood, you know no other love. So dropping your parents seems like a harder thing if you are born in a patriarchal, very traditional family. So these kind of kids are the ones who suffer most, because society, culture, religious tell them, this is your responsibility, you cannot ditch your parents, this is your responsibility. So even men, they stick around because they feel responsible, and they are not allowed to make a wise decision in their life, but they are all the responsibility on them. No matter what they do, their parents are never happy, their parents are never pleased with them. Their parents are pleased with other children of theirs, but they never let this child, this black sheep, never feel happiness in that family. No matter how much compromises they do, no matter what they do, no matter what they say, it's never enough for such parents. And such parents always end up telling these children that no matter what I do, it's not enough for you. They make these children, these narcissistic parents are the ones who actually behave in such a way that no matter what the child do, it is never enough for them. But what happens is, instead of child telling the same thing to their parents, it's the parents who tell the same children, this black sheep, that no matter what I do, it's never enough for you. So this narcissistic parents is the one who always try to manipulate, guilt trip this empathetic child from the childhood, making it feel like, yeah, she is the one wrong, if it is a boy. So these kind of black sheeps are born into a family with where they were controlled very, very, very emotionally, guilt tripping, making them feel guilty for smallest of the thing, confusing them when they are actually making the right decision for them, not supporting them, trying to control them using money. No, you want to go to the college, then you have to do this. I'll give you money, otherwise I will not give. Financial control, emotional control. There are a lot of types control these narcissistic parents. So that is why these kids, unless they grown into a place of loving themselves, and they stop thinking about their parents, what other will think. These are just my parents, they are just old, they are also suffered, so they love me, they're just toxic, but they still love me. If they still get into this kind of psychology, it becomes harder for the kids to get out. But if a kid realizes that it was not my fault, if any such empathetic black sheep of the family realizes earlier in his life that I'm not responsible for what happened to my parents, that my parents suffered, yes, that is how they are suffering, yes, but it is not because of me. So I don't have to make myself feel guilty for the suffering of my own parents. It is my job to make my life happier. I'm not being selfish. I'm just trying to protect myself. It is a self-love and a self-preservation. So I don't have to suffer like my parents did. It is my duty to protect my present and future. So I cannot self-sabotage my life and future. So I cannot abandon myself as well. It is better that I look towards my future and make the right choices for myself. Once I completely settle down in my life, if these parents are still willing to be kinder to me without being toxic, I can think about giving them something. If a child thinks this way, there are a lot of people who just quit their family and then leave because they can't handle this. Because if you stay in that kind of family, it's never good. It's like a mental asylum. Unless these kids reach a point of breaking, like usually daughters, what happens is such parents force their daughters to marry, and that will never end up in a good way. No matter what they have to, they will be end up suffering. Most of the time that is how it is, because narcissistic parent doesn't care about their children. No matter what they do a very careless, reckless behaviors. Even when they are marrying off their children, that's how it is. A narcissist is a narcissist. You can just Google it. A narcissistic person who's very reckless. It's different. Someone can be a very covert narcissistic because, for example, there are people, especially father or a mother, behave like an angel in front of every single one, except inside the house. Angel in the streets, devil in the house, that kind of behavior. Nobody probably will accept even if you say that your parents are like this. No one will be able to believe you, because in front of every single one of them, they will behave like such angelic, like so kind, so understanding, so caring, so forgiving, so this. But with you guys, no. Especially they pick on one child in the family, because that child is completely opposite to them. They are the black sheep of the family. So if you are such a person, fall in love with yourself. That kind of parents are not loving parents. The toxicity and love doesn't exist together. This kind of a children, especially what happens is whoever born as a first in the family are made to take responsibility for other children in the family, made to sacrifice themselves for other younger kids, making them feel guilty about, you're a eldest in the family, this is your responsibility, you give your thing to others, your toys to your younger ones. So that kind of thing happens in a very toxic family from the childhood. So if you are somebody who's still in your teenage years or in your 20s or 30s, if you have that kind of parents, it's up to you. I cannot force you, or I cannot dictate your life. It's up to you. But if you not love yourself, then who is going to love yourself? If we prioritize ourselves, if we decided that nobody can disrespect us, nobody can walk over us, then that's how it is. Unless we do that, how can you expect anybody to love you or respect you? So it is the first thing that remember that it is hard for many people, because such black sheeps are usually the very empathetic, very emotionally deep, very angelic kind of a people. Like they are very forgiving, very kind, very sentimental. This is for you. Remember, we are a soul in a human body. Just because you're born in a family and they are your human parents doesn't mean that they are everything to you. If they are bad, they are bad. You have to understand. Unless you are okay with suffering, if you're not okay with suffering, you have to make a choice whether you want to choose yourself or the parents and siblings that have no good intention towards you. It's different for every single one. It is not a selfishness. It applies to those people who are born into very narcissistic family, very toxic family. The love that you feel is conditional, remember, because if your parents or siblings expect you to say yes and you said no, will they be able to love you? You have to ask yourself this question. If yes, then your family is not toxic. In a narcissistic family or in any toxic family, if your parents or an adult, if they expect you to say yes and if you say no, then all the things will go out, all the hell will break loose. So if you're born into that kind of family, remember that love is not love, that is conditional love, because if you say yes, then only you feel loved because of that. So what happens is, usually star seeds are sent to this kind of a family by your own ancestors to break their own family curses, because they see how their kids, their grandkids, the adults currently living as humans are behaving in such a cruel way, narcissistic way. Their ancestors are the one who sent these kinder souls to earth. Star seeds are the one who are most closer to the source, who are more kinder usually. That is why, because they are made up of love. So these star seeds are the one who actually feel, they never felt connected, they never felt belong to that kind of family, felt always like a black sheep, never understood, never supported, never felt like they have any connection with their family. They feel like they're not even from earth sometimes. It can happen to people. It's because of that, because you might be a star seed as well. Even if you're not star seed, if you're born into such a toxic family, you have to remember one thing. As a soul, you have a responsibility towards yourself. The idea of responsibility comes only because your family, your society, your culture, your religion says so. Have you met any God who said that is how it is? No. Even in a same timeline, if you look at different cultures, different society, different religion, everything, what is responsibilities is completely different. Being kind and gentle towards ourselves is our responsibility. If somebody is cruel to us, it is our job to protect ourselves. Yes or no? Yes. So if you're somebody with a toxic family, remember, first thing you have to remember that you are a soul in a human body. It means you must have been born too many times already. How many parents you think you already had in your past? So if you think that way, it becomes a little bit easier for you to detach yourself from attachment. That is why, they say, be detached a little bit. Yes, your parents suffered, but do you want to suffer? If answer is no, then it's your responsibility to come out of the toxicity. First thing, you have to remember that you are a soul. Second thing, you have to remember that you have to be kinder, gentler, and forgiving towards yourself. These star seeds, these black sheeps are the one who usually, the very negative self-talk because of the parents who raised them. The internal conversation about themselves, chiding on themselves for smallest of the things. No, be very, very, very forgiving towards yourself. Kindness is not complete unless you be kind to yourself as well. If you're kind to others and not kind to yourself, that is cruelty towards yourself. That is not kindness at all. Start with being very gentle, very kind to yourself, no matter what happened. Even if you fail, if you slip, your cup of coffee falls on the ground, you say it's okay. If you wanted to do something you couldn't do it, say it's okay. Universe is something that always says yes, yes, yes. The more you're forgiving towards yourself for these kind of things, it's good. And release every single thing. It's better to release every single shame and guilt from our consciousness. We are only experiencing this life as us without remembering who we are exactly. So why we have to feel guilty about it? So releasing that every guilt from our consciousness, releasing every shame from our consciousness, and very important, forgiving the self, because we don't know what we did in the past. So that self forgiveness is very, very important. When we forgive ourselves, it's our first step towards releasing every kind of karmic negative connections. And second thing, forgiving every single one unconditionally. Every single one means every single one. Releasing that burden. And choosing to show that self-love, have a lot of self-respect towards self, realizing your own worth, and trying to be authentic means, if you are the God, how would you behave? Would you please somebody? Would you fear somebody? If you want to say yes, you would say yes. If you want to say no, it is a no, right? Usually these children who are too much empathetic, they are grown into people pleasers. Somebody says, oh, you are such a nice person, and their heart melts. They may spend their whole day trying to counsel somebody, even a stranger's meeting at a random point in their life. They may spend their whole day counseling some random person and feel so great about it. What is the point of doing that when you are not able to do that to yourself? Be kind to yourself first. Trying to understand yourself. If somebody is angry, these empathetic people are having the ability to absorb others' energy like theirs. It is because of the life experience that they have, because they had to protect themselves from their parents when they were kids, because unless they understand, if they understand how their parents are feeling, then they were able to protect themselves, whether their parents are angry or they are happy. So the child is learning. Such kids, they had to learn to observe people's expressions, smallest of the expressions, to cater that kind of a situation. So instead of absorbing such anger from or any kind of emotion from other people, try to be kinder to yourself. There are emotions. If somebody is getting angry on somebody, you don't have to absorb it. Even somebody is getting angry on you, don't have to absorb it. That's their problem, not your problem. So first thing is releasing that fear. Second thing is you have to love yourself. Third thing is you have to forgive yourself and forgive every single one, means every single one. And fourth one is you have to do certain practices, means you have to give some exercises to your body. Lighter one is okay. And to your mind, keeping this social media away is best way to do it. And next thing is inner work, means every single time when a fear pops up, convincing yourself that no, I'll get through this. It's already over. You have to remember one thing, that universe always says yes, and we have a free will on earth. It's best that we use it to our bestest possible opportunities towards our own self. Means if there is a situation, you want it to be sorted or you want to cry over it. We want it to be sorted, right? So instead of wondering what happened, what will happen, why not we think about, okay, this is already sorted in my favor. We don't need to know how it will sort out. It's sorted. So that is how we can use our free will to our best as possible situation. But you have to remember, you have to do that without ego. We have to do that without ego, and it works if we are trying to bring no injustice to others. Means we are trying to protect ourselves, then it works. But if somebody is trying to harm someone else, then there will be divine who probably will intervene. So this is only for those people who are trying to protect themselves from cruelty, from abuse, from injustice, those kind of things. And people, if you're that kind of star seeds, standing up for yourself in speaking from your heart, it releases a lot of energy. Otherwise, these people take all the energy in, they feel suffocated and they keep it in and they turn into something else. It may impact them physically. Some people physically feel sick because of that internalized energy that they were never able to, repel or extract out of it. So it's very important to speak up. That is why people who always speak whatever they want, they don't keep any energy inside. So I'm trying to talk about twin flames because twin flames are born into narcissistic family. Most of them, because they were sent by the divine to break that generational curses. So if you're twin flame, even if you're not, it's same. You have to remember, you are the first one in your life that has to be kind and gentle and very forgiving towards yourself. That is how it is. If you want your twin to be kinder, you need to be kinder, because if you are a divine feminine, it's your responsibility to act upon your heart and your twin follows. That is how it works. Because your twin is your own reflection. By doing that inner work, every time when the fear comes, you have to sit down and contemplate and tell yourself that you can do that. It's not how it is. It's just a fear. Fear is not real. Fear only exists on earth. Fear is not real. So what is the point of overthinking? What is the point of fear? Letting go of that and cutting that ties with every single thing that does not serve us. Ego, self-sabotage, negative behaviors, negative thinking, negative assumption, negative thoughts, and replacing that with something very positive. Every single time when something doubt comes up, you have to say, well, it's just a doubt. It has no power over me, so I release it. Take care of it, divine, and let it go. Whether you believe in a God, whether you don't believe in a God, divine wants us to believe in ourselves. Have confidence. They always say, my spirit guardians always say, have confidence in yourself. So if you're a twin, even if you're not a twin, but in a very toxic family, when waking up, immediately after waking up, looking at the mirror and telling yourself that you love yourself, you forgive yourself, and you adore yourself, and you support yourself, you'll always be there for you. These are the most important things usually people want to hear from others, isn't it? Our subconscious doesn't know whether somebody else tells that to you or you tell that to yourself. When you go to the sleep and when you wake up in the morning, this is the two very important time in our life where our brain is able to grasp and understand a lot of things very quickly and faster. So the moment we get up in the morning, instead of taking mobile in the hand, we can do that mirror work. And change our subconscious thinking and make us lose that self-sabotage behavior from ourselves.